you breathe purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors on this Thursday, September 5th edition of the show. We are 2 days out from East Carolina, taking on Old Dominion in Norfolk, Virginia. We'll preview that and more in mere minutes with Marc Yellock, former ECU defensive line coach. He'll visit with us most Thursdays this season. We got to sing the fight song. We'll do that shortly. We're also going to talk later on with Gary Higgins, ECU women's soccer coach. They have played 5 games and they have not lost. They're 3-0-2. We'll talk with Coach Higgins later on about that. And then with the NFL kicking off tonight, Philip Pilkington and I are going to look at that slate and make our Super Bowl picks. All right, we have Marc Yellock standing by. Let's go ahead and get to it, Coach. I guess we gotta start off by singing the fight song.
Yeah, man.
Should we start? I need some energy from you. You think you can bring it?
I'm not going to sit here and yell. Hold on. I know the fight song. Do you know it?
I know it. You ready? All right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Cheer for East Carolina. Cheer for Old EC. We know we're the finest. Onward to victory. Go Pirates. Cheer for East Carolina. Cheer on for Old EC. Loyal and bold with a purple and gold. We are the Pirates of ECU. Hey.
There we go.
There we go. 1-0, Coach. What'd you think of the opener?
That was awesome. Always good to get a win underneath your belt. People don't understand how hard it is to get wins, and I know this. I know that the staff and everybody else is happy and a lot to improve and a lot to grow on to the next game.
Philip Pilkington, our producer. How would you grade our first fight song of the year, Philip?
It was solid, but it's got some work to do. It was a passing grade for sure. I'll give Marc a B. You're getting like a C+.
That's fine. I got to work on my
y'all will
delivery.
average out to a B-.
Wow.
Hey,
wow. This is tough. You know what? I look. What's going to have to happen next time is that I got to get by the studio and we just got to do it in person.
Yeah.
What I'm saying? That's the problem. That's the problem. You know, but okay, we got a harsh critic on our side here, Philip. Okay, very harsh. All right, we know our environment now. I go. So
hey,
we just got to bring it next time.
And
I didn't want to yell and jump around. It's just a little different. But okay, now that we know, we can act accordingly.
And Coach, to be fair, we didn't have much practice last year. We're a little rusty. And, it's just Norfolk State. So, once the Pirates start stockpiling some wins, we'll get better as the season. Hey, your greatest improvement, Coach, week 1 to week 2. So we'll improve next week, right?
Exactly right. Hey, look, you're only as good as your next play. You see what I'm saying? So Philip, calm down now, okay? We get there.
All right, I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry. I was trying to hold you guys to a high standard. I have a lot of faith in the two of you. That's
you know
all
what? We appreciate the high standards that you're putting us in, and that's what we want. We want the high standards because high standards means that we're going to get better, and we're both competitive. Me and I go both competitive people, so we'll get better.
We'll work on it for sure. Coach, Pirates at ODU this weekend. We'll preview that matchup in a little bit. Let's start with the offense. Obviously, look, there are some kinks to work out. 6 turnovers, 5 of those are on the offense. The other one coming on special teams. But, you coached with John David Baker at North Texas. This was the first time calling plays. What did you think about the offense from what you saw?
I thought that, just getting everything in the rhythm. Just like we talked about even before the game, it's all about getting in the rhythm. We'll see some more improvements from game 1 to game 2. They came in, probably had some plays that they wanted to run. Of course, like we talked about before, Norfolk State had already played, so they got it. They had a game plan on what they wanted to do, and they just kind of. And also too, they're worried about themselves and worried about what they can be able to do with a new quarterback, new system, new. It's a lot of new faces there. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, and it's funny. Like I'm looking at some people that's on the offense, and I'm like, wow, all right. Transfer here, transfer there is completely different from the old school where you had a junior who's been there for 3 years, or you had a sophomore who's just now redshirted or played as a true freshman, or some of the. I'm pretty sure there are some people that are like that, but there's more transfers all around. So it's all about getting everybody gelled together. Is also important too.
No doubt, and I would think, Coach, with Jake Garcia, the quarterback, he was playing his first game since the end of the 2022 season with Miami. Look, we saw some really good throws downfield. We saw some poor decisions. Jake said so after the game. The coaches have said that's been addressed. And what did you make of his first outing in nearly 2 years, and kind of the mix of good and bad there?
I think that JDB, whenever I say JDB, I'm talking about the offensive coordinator, guys. So I've always known him as JDB, so it's going to roll off that way. JDB, if you notice, they did a lot of split zone action, 5-man, 6-man protection, 6-man protection for him to kind of help him out a little bit at the very beginning. They kind of get in the rhythm. 2 of the touchdowns were off the RPOs, split zone action, jet sweep type action. That's just to help the quarterback get in the rhythm, help him get involved with it. I'm pretty sure that was part of the game plan also too, based upon who Norfolk State knew who they were facing. So I think JDB did try to protect him a little bit and try to give him not easy throws, because nothing's easy, but to give him some routine type play throws, trying to get him warmed up into the deal. So it'd be very interesting to see as next week in how he grows and how he progresses and how he grows with it.
We're visiting with Marc Yellock, former ECU defensive line coach. William Landon on YouTube says he's glad Coach Yellock is on. Some great memories from his playing and coaching days at ECU. Yeah, always great to have Coach Yellock be a part of the program. Looking at the defense, Coach, look, you're a defensive line guy. You coached it. You played it. This defensive line, they're pretty much all 4- and 5th-year seniors. They have some experienced upperclassmen as well backing them up. So, when you look at the defensive line, they held Norfolk State to 43 rushing yards on 45 attempts. They really dominated the point of attack, which I guess is the expectation with this group. What did you make of that unit's play?
I think that, first of all, I thought that Coach Harrell and his staff, defensive staff, they did a great job. They always do a good job of I think, in my opinion, of planning, planning the attack, game planning, and taking away what what they were doing. Or whatever opponent they're facing, what their speed ball is. I thought that they did a really good job. There's some times that, of course, there's some things they need to work on in the sense of keeping contained on the quarterback sometimes and understanding that aspect of it. And I think that comes, working together, getting to your dots. That's all first game scenarios. Stay in your gap with a lot of movement, because a lot of people has to understand with this type of defense, these guys. Again, they've been involved with this defense for some of them 3 or 4 years already, even the whole time they've been at ECU. And so, along with Coach Harrell, I think that they're in the comfort zone. They're in a little bit better situation than the offense is, because they know they got all the answers to everything. They've seen everything, So, in the sense of schematic-wise. So I think that it'd be very interesting. They just need just first game stuff that needs to clean up. And that's not a lot, because I thought they did a pretty good job of 40-some yards rushing. That's the expectation with the type of talent level that they have versus that team.
Marc Yellock with us, former ECU defensive line coach. And Old Dominion this weekend, they almost went to South Carolina and took down the Gamecocks. Really should have won the game. They outgained them overall. They had 2 turnovers inside their own 10-yard line, which directly led to 14 points for the Gamecocks. Now, South Carolina was starting a redshirt freshman quarterback. I think his first career start. You kind of saw the ODU's defense, I thought, getting his head a little bit in the passing game. We were talking a little bit this morning, Coach, against ODU's defensive scheme. They run that 3-down look with 3 high safeties. I think ECU's going to have to run the ball some this week to make life easier on themselves. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, I think that it. Well, first of all, I'm sure. JDB's those type of weeks before, being from the places he's been at, and they have a great plan against what they're facing. And again, it will go back to matchups, right? We talked about it earlier that third safety that's there is going to be a run fitter type safety. So whenever teams are playing with that 3-spoke safety look, I always call it 3-spoke. That down safety is kind of like a little rover guy. That he can match up on receivers, but he's also going to be accountable of fitting in the box if you happen to run the ball. There are some cases where you have certain coverages and certain safeties are not involved into the coverage. I mean, involved into the run fit. That is. But in those cases, that rover, he could be in the fit. He has to be in the fit most of the time. So I think that running counters, running the ball, trying to see if your guy is better than his that guy tackling. That'd be very interesting to see how they approach it. I think they got the right scheme to go against this type of look, and it's all about, I think, going back to what the head coach likes to do is just run the ball a little bit and see how it all matches up, and that will help the quarterback out also too with some of the things that he could be able to do.
We were talking too, Coach. I mean, Javius Bond, number 30, the running back for East Carolina, didn't see a ton of touches in the opener. Was dynamic on punt return when he got his hands there. He had a touchdown run, just 4 carries. I kind of feel like he's a guy that they got to get the ball more to going forward. I think some of that is health related. They're trying to keep him fresh. But I know you watch film, you watch these games like a coach, and I know you want to see 30 touch the ball a little more, right?
Yeah, I think that, and you got to look at it too in the sense of how this game was going too. I mean, we're not going to get a good, with the score being 40-something to 3, you're not going to get a big sample size of what all the ECU is going to do. They got to the third and fourth quarter, the game was already done. So, they're just basically working on routine plays and getting guys some snaps, some younger guys some snaps, and just not trying to show everything on the first film. And they probably worked on tons more than what we've seen on Saturday, this past Saturday. So I think that, we'll probably see 30 a lot and probably see, a lot of other things going, a lot of other players like One and Soul, number 5, I think that's it. That's who it is, and getting more involved into the offense and getting more touches. And we'll see all of those things. Those things will come to place as this thing grows and go. But I really like 30. I think it's a big guy. And you got, hey, look, he's the one that kind of fumbled that thing on the kickoff deal, right? On the punt, right?
Yep, he does. Yeah, running punts back. So he almost
I'm pretty sure
they
wasn't too happy about that one. I'm pretty sure he had to do some up downs with the ball in his hand with that one, some punishment with that one. But no, I like the kid. I mean, I think he's a really good player.
No doubt, really dynamic player, Javius Bond. East Carolina, Old Dominion this Saturday. So kind of an interesting matchup, Coach, in that both these defenses are accustomed to in practice, at least seeing when they go good on good this offensive scheme. ODU runs this fast tempo, up pace, spread them out, wide splits with the receivers, a lot of short passes, a lot of RPO. ECU now used to seeing it as well. So does that favor the defense going into this Saturday, or do you still expect some points to be put on the board?
I think that, what it really boils down to it really boils down to technique. In the first couple of games in the season, it's all about what team has the better chemistry in the sense of they on the roll, they got a rhythm going, both offense, defense, and special teams, and sideline, because, it's always 4 phases to the game. I think that it's all about who can block the best, who can tackle the best, and who can be able to pick up the blitzes and who can be able to make competitive plays. I know that sounds kind of a routine-ish type conversation there, but when you get to these earlier games, when you got a little small sample size of what the opponent is really doing, that's really boils down to it. And that's the reason why you see the ODUs getting really close to South Carolina's in games and stuff like that. It's because of those type of scenarios. It's because, it's a routine play here and there. It's a tackle, it's a block, it's this right here. And those things make the game close if it's all even out. And the ones who do the best job of those little fundamental things are the ones that's going to do are going to be the ones that are going to win earlier. Of course, DNA also takes over sometimes too.
Coach, I'm going to take you down memory lane real quick. 2013 season opener, East Carolina faced Old Dominion. Some guy named Taylor Heineke was the quarterback for ODU. Obviously went on to play in the NFL. Pirates won that game 52-38. ODU was FCS at the time. Heineke, 338 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 52 yards and a score. Shane Carden, 46 of 54, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks, 447 passing yards. Justin Hardy, 16 catches, 191 yards. That was Davon Grayson and Zay Jones' debut. They both had touchdown catches in that game. Do you remember that game at all back in 2013?
I remember that game. Here's the reason why I remember this, because when you mentioned that, the quarterback was phenomenal. That quarterback for ODU was pretty daggone good. He could have easily been able to play in this case. They were 1AA. He could have easily played in if it was the days transfer portal and everything, he would have been at somewhere in Division I school, because he had that talent. I remember him, and we were worried about it. They were a spread offense also too. They were spread them out, throw them around, and we just basically on defense, we just knew that they were going to get the yards thrown. They had some good receivers because, of course, they did a good job. The head coach over there, who's now I think is over at Chattanooga, the head coach over there that was
Bobby Water
was there at ODU. I think he's at either Chattanooga or I can't remember exactly where. I know he's back in coaching.
Tennessee Tech. Yep.
Tennessee Tech. That's it. I knew it was Tennessee somewhere. But he did a phenomenal job of getting guys from the 757 area. So he got all that speed on the stuff like that. So no, that game was really crazy. It was also good to see Shane Carden get going too, because that was the same. That was the start of him really getting good.
No doubt.
And getting some good chemistry between him and Zay Jones and Justin.
No doubt. 2013, 10-win season for East Carolina football that Coach Yellock was a part of. All right, Coach, we're going to let you go. We got to talk some women's soccer next with Gary Higgins, but I appreciate it as always, and hopefully we're singing that fight song next week. We'll do it in studio if the Pirates win. How about that?
I don't like the way you say you hope.
All right, when the Pirates win next week, we will do it in studio.
There we go. There's still hope. We don't hope. We Pirates. We don't hope nothing. We just take.
There you go.
No, I appreciate it, man.
All right, Coach Yellock, always great to talk with you, man. We'll catch up next week for sure. All right,
take care.
Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll shift gears. We'll talk women's soccer. Gary Higgins will preview the Sunday matchup against Western Carolina. This is Hoist the Colors.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Pirate game days, there's nothing like them. The atmosphere, first down, the tradition, the matchups, the magical finishes. Be a part of Pirate Game Days. Season tickets are as low as $115. Reserve your seat today to be a part of the experience of Pirate Game Days at Dowdy Ficklin Stadium this fall.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo.
Drink up, me hearty Joe-ho.
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in on this Thursday, September 5th. Of course, we're talking a lot of East Carolina football, but let's talk some soccer. Huge match coming up this Sunday, Western Carolina, East Carolina. The Lady Pirates have played 5 games. They're unbeaten, 3-0-2 on the season. We have head coach Gary Higgins joining us. Coach, welcome back, and how would you describe the first 5 games for your team thus far?
Stephen, how you doing? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm definitely pleased with where we're at so far in the first 5 games. We've put some good performances in, and it's been really difficult for other teams to score on us, which is a good foundation to have. And then the last game against Wilmington, we actually managed to put some good goals away in the other end. So, so far, so good, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going into conference play.
Yeah, 5 games, Coach, 1 goal given up. I mean, I know we talked just before the season started, and you said you wanted to build the foundation of this team on defense and kind of that mentality, toughness, not giving up goals. And, I mean, you can't do much better than that. And I know there was one game in there where Maeve English, your regular goalkeeper, was sick, and a freshman had to step up. So you've got to be pleased with how the defensive side of the ball is playing right now.
Yeah, we are doing really, really well defensively, and that's like a full team effort. So we really pride ourselves on defending as a unit up and down the field. And like you mentioned, Maeve was sick one of the games, and Casey Taylor had to step in, and she done fantastic. She was really a calm presence back there, and she didn't have to make too many saves, but she had to make one good one. But then it's also about how she controlled the game in certain moments with the ball at her feet and things like that. So 10 for going in and doing well, and that's the sign of a good team. When someone gets sick or someone gets injured, someone else can come in and fill the void pretty well. But yeah, overall, it's 100% being a team effort, and we pride ourselves on defending as a unit up and down the field and the way we press and things like that.
You mentioned, Casey Taylor. What were her nerves like going into that game? Because obviously a freshman stepping into some pretty big shoes, and you mentioned her teammates definitely played a role in obviously that shutout as well. But, to step into that spot as a freshman, that had to be a big moment for her.
Yeah, we spoke about it recently, actually. She said she had some nerves, obviously, naturally. But coaching staff-wise, we were actually quietly confident. You obviously never know with freshmen, but we were quietly confident because she'd been doing well in practice, and she actually started in January and was a mid-year freshman, so that was definitely helpful for her to get a lot of practice in with the coaching staff, and then a couple of spring games, which definitely helped her acclimatise, and she had a lot of growth that first semester, so that certainly helped. But the goalkeeper position, you just have to be ready to be called upon at any given moment, and it's one of those that you could play 0 minutes and then all of a sudden you're having to play 90 minutes. So super proud of how she handled that situation, and then also really proud of the players in front of her protecting her in the right moments.
We're visiting with Gary Higgins, women's soccer head coach. The Pirates have played 5 games. They are unbeaten, 3-0-2 on the season. And Coach, I got to ask about the scoreless ties back-to-back against Campbell, Coastal Carolina. Now y'all outshot Campbell by a significant margin and just couldn't get one into the back of the net, which I'm sure had to be a little frustrating. But how do you balance the ties? Obviously, you play well enough to not lose. I'm sure you want to win. Just what's that like as a coach?
Yeah, I know a lot of people get frustrated with ties, especially in America, and I get it. Like, we all want to win, but some ties are really good and some ties are really frustrating. And I think both of our ties were frustrating in different ways. Like the first one, like you mentioned, we outshot Campbell 19-2 and really controlled that game, and we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But we also understand some teams are going to do that against us, so we were frustrated with that, but also realised that there might be a couple more games like that where we have to find a way to get it in the back of the net somehow. But then the Coastal game was our worst performance by far. It was just like really hot. It was 100 degrees, and that certainly had an effect. But Coastal possessed the ball really well in the build-up play, and we had to adjust the way we were pressing in certain moments, and we struggled with that. And we outshot Coastal too, but they actually had probably the better chances in the game. So I would say in the grand scheme of things, that was actually quite a positive tie on with regards to how that game went on the day. But looking back, obviously we would love to have won those games, but it's good to learn from them and learn from those situations without having a loss on your record.
You mentioned the season high 3 goals in the 3-0 win at UNC Wilmington this past Sunday, and again, a really good defensive performance once again from your squad, Coach. But to score 3 goals, that had to make the girls and the coaching staff feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, no, that was fun to see, and there were 3 really good goals too. One was off a cross. Kylie Alvarez got her first career goal, which was really cool to see, and then Sydney Schnell scored an absolute banger from outside the box, off the crossbar and in, which was really nice. And then Emma Sheehan scored a really nice goal on a breakaway and lobbed the keeper with some composure. So nice to get 3 goals, but also 3 nice goals in open play. And the girls looked as if they enjoyed that performance, and long may that continue, because that's definitely the most fun part of the sport, is putting the ball in the back of the net, because it's just so difficult to do.
I wanted to ask you, Coach, about Sydney Schnell, and I took my family out for the UNC Greensboro game. Pirates won that game 2-1, really tight, competitive game, and Sydney had an awesome goal in the first half of that contest that stick with me pretty vividly. I know she's a very experienced member of your team, clearly very capable goal scorer, but just talk about her progression a little bit in the program, how far she's come along since joining you guys.
Yeah, she's came along a long way since I've got here, and one of the things when I first got here, she was a little bit scared to take shots, and definitely not confident taking shots in front of goal, and she openly admitted that to me one day, and I was like, well, we need to fix that, because if you don't shoot, you don't score. And so we really worked on that the first year together, and then she started to build that confidence, and now, especially the 2 goals that she scored this year and then some of the goals she scored last year, she's not even thinking about it. She's just not, zero hesitation when she gets a chance to take a shot, and she's almost being selfish in a way, which all good forwards have to do. In some moments you have to be selfish and you have to take shots and try and make things happen at times. So she's took that on board, and she's been doing really well. So long may that continue, because we'd love to see her keep scoring goals in her final season with us.
Western Carolina this Sunday, Coach. You got the middle of the week off from playing a game, which I'm sure will help rest some legs a little bit. But they come to town, a very capable team. They are 2-1 on the season. They've played Florida. They scored 6 goals on UNC Asheville. They scored 3 goals in a win at Georgia State recently. So what do you expect from the Catamounts on Sunday?
Yeah, very good team. I think this is going to be one of our toughest games, if not the toughest potentially. But they've got some really good athletes in their team. They're very organised in their formation. And then they've got like the SoCon Player of the Year returning, who's very dangerous. And they won the SoCon last year, so very capable team. But we've obviously got some weapons that we can utilise too, and we're a good team too. So I'm just excited for a really good competitive game and a fun environment. We're hoping to get a lot of people out there on Sunday, and it's kind of going to be that East-West rivalry, which is really fun. And we've actually done a good job against all the North Carolina teams so far, so we're looking to continue that trend and hopefully get a good result.
Sunday, 1 o'clock will be the start time. And, again, trying to get a big crowd out there. And I had the chance to take my family a couple weeks ago. Really fun atmosphere. The Scallywags do a great job with the vuvuzelas and the drums. They're into the game. So how important and how much would it mean to your girls and your staff to have a big crowd Sunday, Coach?
Oh, it would mean the world to us. So we're hoping to try and break our attendance record, which was 1,335 back in 2022. So we've got PGSA Day, which is the local soccer club. We're dedicating that day to them. So hopefully a lot of those players and families come out and support us, and then we're really hoping Pirate Nation can join too. It's going to be a beautiful day weather-wise, and we're really hoping that people show up and cheer the girls on, because it makes such a difference when they know that Pirate Nation's right behind them.
Last thing for Coach Higgins, women's soccer coach over at East Carolina. So you've played 5 games, Coach. Of course, you've got the Western Carolina game that will mark 6 before conference play begins at Temple next week. What do you feel like you've learned about your team through non-conference play thus far, and then where do you guys want to keep growing?
Yeah, I've learned that we're really competitive. We've got a really good competitive nature. We're really difficult to break down, and we don't like conceding goals, which is a great habit to get into. I've learned that they're receptive to try and work on things offensively, and really want to do better in the offensive half of the field, and they're really doing whatever it takes to get that productivity in the right direction. And then I saw some togetherness on the field specifically in terms of working together.
Great opportunity to go out with the family and enjoy some sports. All right, Coach Higgins, we appreciate the time. We'll get you back on later this season, but best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you, and I really appreciate you having me on, and go Pirates.
Absolutely. That is Gary Higgins, his team off to a great start this year. Really enjoyed getting out there earlier this season and hoping to make it out again soon to support the Pirates, again, unbeaten through 5 games. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We will transition. We'll talk some NFL. Philip Pilkington and I, we've got to make our Super Bowl picks because it all kicks off tonight. And if we don't get it in for the first game of the season, then it doesn't count. So we got to do that on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Hey Glenn, let's talk about a new program at Greenville Nissan.
Sure, sometimes bad things happen to good people, like credit hiccups.
Greenville Nissan just rolled out credit forgiveness.
If you've been making consistent car payments and you're tired of that high interest rate, this program is for you.
Get into a new Nissan with a manageable payment and keep that cash in the bank.
Come visit us at Greenville Nissan and drive your Nissan home today.
Hurry, this program ends September 3rd. Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in color. and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on this Thursday, September 5th. We just talked to Gary Higgins, women's soccer coach. His team 3-0-2 on the season, unbeaten through 5 games. They'll take on Western Carolina at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Same day NFL kicks off. We'll talk about that here in a minute. We also talked with Marc Yellock. If you missed any of that, check it out on the podcast feed, also archived on YouTube, Facebook, etc. All right, we're going to do some NFL picks, Philip. I do want to get your quick gauge on ECU ODU, which we may circle back around the last segment. But Kenny Curlin's on Facebook. He's optimistic. He says if the offense cleans up on the turnovers, the Pirates will win 35-10. South Carolina had no passing game. ODU quarterback Grant Wilson had a few good runs, did hit a big play with a deep ball, shut him down, and we will win. What is that too optimistic? How are you feeling on this? Let's get a vibe check.
I don't know. I mean, I love the optimism, but also, this is a team that really I thought won the point of attack defensively when they were on defense, and they have a good box six, I guess, because they kind of play six in the box there with the 3 safeties, and they did it against an SEC opponent. So, I mean, if ECU can go out and sling the ball, yeah, that'll be great. We're going to have to run the ball effectively, too. And this is not going to be an easy game to run the ball effectively. We got some good offensive linemen, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a chess match. I really do not see either team blowing one of the other one out without some huge mistakes and big game-changing plays. I think if it's a back-and-forth game, it'll stay relatively close.
All right. I'm going to read you the scores from Old Dominion football since the start of last season. You'll notice a trend. All right, last year at Virginia Tech, they lost 36-17 to open the season. Somewhat of a competitive game, but a double-digit loss. Then they faced Louisiana. They won 38-31, one-possession game. Faced Wake Forest at home, lost 27-24, one-possession game. Faced Texas A&M University Commerce. They won 10-9, one-possession game. I don't even know if that was a school.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a D1 school, that's for sure.
At Marshall, 41-35 loss, one-possession game. At Southern Miss, 17-13 win, one-possession game. Appalachian State at home, they beat 28-21, big win for them, one-possession game. At James Madison, they lost 30-27, one-possession game. Coastal Carolina, they lost 28-24, one-possession game. At Liberty, they got beat pretty handily, 38-10. At Georgia Southern, won 2017 to make a bowl game, one-possession game. Georgia State, this was their 6th win, 25-24 win, one-possession game. And then the bowl game, Western Kentucky, 38-35 loss, one-possession game. In the opener against South Carolina, 23-19 loss, one-possession game. So I think the line's about right, Philip. I think we're going to see a close game on Saturday. I think if ECU blows them out, that is a great sign for the Pirates.
It is, but, it's kind of interesting here. If you mentioned those one-possession games, now in 2022, the Pirates did defeat Norfolk State 39-21, but you go back to Norfolk in 2019, Pirates win it 24-21, one-possession game.
Yeah.
Here in Greenville, 2018, Pirates win 37-35, one-possession game. So they don't get blown out. Yeah, they like to play close games, even if they're playing, was it Commerce or Corpus Christi?
Texas A&M Commerce University.
Yeah, I think that's one of the teams actually coming this week for the volleyball invitation.
Oh gosh,
that's the only reason I knew they were D1 is because Chip said they were coming for volleyball this week.
So, I think the thing I have about ODU, like I watched them against South Carolina, and they got some talent. Don't get me wrong, but I just think they're extremely well coached. So like they're not going to have like a bunch of bust plays that ECU is going to be able to take advantage of on either side of the ball. I know they did turn the ball over a handful of times, but I think ECU is going to have to play a clean game to win. I do think ECU's got a little better talent, but it's going to be a tough game. I think it'll be a close game throughout. All right, NFL, we'll circle back to ODU. The NFL starts tonight, Philip. First off, Ravens-Chiefs. It sounds like a great game on paper. I gotta admit, I'm kind of tired of Ravens-Chiefs. I don't know if it's just because they meet all the time. I'll watch it, don't get me wrong, but I think I have Ravens-Chiefs fatigue. I think I'd be more excited if Keaton Mitchell was playing.
There you go. No, it does kind of seem that way, but it's weird that we have that fatigue because I never seem to get it with Colts Patriots back in the Brady Manning days. I don't know. Just kind of is what it is.
Chiefs are a 3-point favorite. We're not going to pick it this week, obviously, because we do our picks on Friday. I would lean Chiefs just with it being an Arrowhead. I think the Lions beat the Chiefs in the opening game last year, right?
They did, 21-20.
Yeah, so, it's been done, but, we'll see. I think the Ravens are going to miss their defensive coordinator. They lost him, right, to Seattle.
They did. They lost their defense coordinator. They also lost 3 of their starting offensive linemen. They lost both of their guards as well as their right tackle. So, obviously John Harbaugh is known for always having big offensive line, and they are very good at replacing them when they do lose them. But, hey, first game with a new, with 60% of your offensive line being new, it's going to be interesting. And then after this, I'm pretty sure they play Cincinnati next week if I'm correct on that. So, look, this could be a tough little start to the season for the Ravens, but they're also one of those teams, as we've seen from the past. It doesn't matter if they're a wild card; they can play their way through and end up in the Super Bowl. Sorry, they've got the Raiders next week.
You've got the Chiefs play the Bengals next week. That's what
I knew that one of those teams played the Bengals. I think of the Raiders next week. They should beat the Raiders, but I don't know. I'm definitely on the Chiefs tonight. So we'll see. We've been surprised before. Remember when Alex Smith and the Chiefs went into Gillette and kicked the crap out of Tom Brady. So nobody saw that coming. So, hey, stranger things can happen, and that's why we'll tune in.
So we got your vibe check on the Pirates. How about your Carolina Panthers? They go to New Orleans on Sunday, 1 o'clock. Panthers at Saints. The Saints are a 4-point favorite. I don't know what to make of the whole NFC South as a whole. It's just such a mediocre division. I think the Panthers have a shot to win this game. What about you?
Yeah, New Orleans is not good enough to where you feel like there's no way in heck the Panthers can win this game. But also, we don't know what this Carolina Panthers roster is going to be. A lot of turnover on defense, some good new weapons on offense, which is great. But on each side of the ball only saw one drive in the preseason. So, I have a feeling the Saints will win, but I could see the Panthers keeping it close. Anytime I bring up that the Saints might win, T-Cop's like, nah, man, you guys always beat us when you're not supposed to. So T-Cop's probably picking the Panthers. I don't know. I haven't talked to him this week. I'm sure I'll exchange some texts with him on Sunday morning. But how about your boys? You got Seattle to open up, same team you opened up with 2 years ago. It didn't go so well there. I think it's also in Seattle again this week, isn't it? So what are your thoughts on the Seahawks?
I don't have much faith in Denver winning this game. I think Seattle's a 5.5-point favorite. I don't know if Denver's won in Seattle since the Seahawks went to the NFC. If so, it may have been once or twice. But it's one of those games where it just feels like Denver, whether they're good or bad, never play well in Seattle. So I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about it. Bo Nix going back to the West Coast, obviously where he played at Oregon in that area, although a lot of Washington fans hate him, so I'm sure he'll get some hate from Seattle fans. But we'll pick it tomorrow. I do think the only thing that favors Denver is the fact that Seattle has a lot of new pieces, with the new coaching staff coming in. They did lose a lot. I read somewhere they were the worst tackling team in the NFL last year. And in Sean Payton's offense, basically it's designed to get the ball out quick, get the ball in space, and get the ball to your guys and have the defense make tackles. So maybe that plays to Denver's advantage. But I definitely will pick Seattle to win the game. I just don't know by how much. At this point, I have zero expectations for the Broncos this year, Phillip. It's just, can Bo Nix look enough like the guy of the future to get me excited? And you may feel the same way about Bryce Young and the Panthers.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. So to answer your question, you have won one time since the Seahawks jumped ship to the NFC. It was in their first year in the NFC back in 2002. You won 31-9, but since then, you're over the great muggy, ugly, rainy Northwest.
Even the Peyton Manning Broncos went up there and struggled. So
yeah, what year was that? Let's see. That was in 2014, which was a heck of a year for you guys. You ended up the 2 seed that year. You lost 26-20 in overtime in mid-September.
There you go, bringing the facts. So I just remember it's just, look, Seattle, give him credit. Maybe the one good thing about Bo Nix being a rookie is he's used to a raucous college-like atmosphere, and that's kind of what the Seahawks present in that stadium. So we'll see what happens. What do you think about this Brazil game, Phillip? Packers, Eagles, again, great matchup on paper, 8:15 kick on Friday. Are you a fan of this game?
It's weird.
Is it just whatever?
No, I'm very intrigued. I've seen a lot of people way overhyping the Packers. I actually was watching Good Morning Football, and Peter Schrader was picking them to go to the Super Bowl.
Is this just because they beat Dallas in the playoffs last year?
Yeah, it's just they beat Dallas in the Come on, they beat the Cowboys in the playoffs. Cowboys haven't done anything in the playoffs since '95, right? By the way, who broke that win streak for them in the playoffs? It was the Panthers. Just throwing that out there. We beat them in '96, but hey, look, we don't know what Green Bay is going to be. They showed a lot more promise last year than a lot of people thought, but the team that was the worst down the stretch maybe of any team in the league last year was the Philadelphia Eagles. And then they show up in the playoffs, and they looked like crap. And they've had a lot of turnover, especially on the offense and defensive line. So, look, I think that we're going to learn a lot about this, as much as you can learn in week one about kind of where two teams that are definitely fringe playoff teams are, at least to start the season on Friday night as far as the NFC goes. So I think this is a very intriguing matchup, and it's going to be a really fun one to tune into.
Super Bowl picks, if you look at the odds, the Chiefs are again the favorite to three-peat. We'll see if they can do that. The Niners have the second-best odds. Those are the two clear favorites. Ravens, third. Eagles, fourth. Lions, fifth. Bengals, Bills, Texans, Packers, Cowboys round out the top group. I typically shy away from going with the big favorites, but I just don't know if anybody can take out the Niners in the NFC. What are your thoughts on Super Bowl pick this year?
Yeah, it's weird. If you just look at the rosters on paper, right, Dallas is right up there with San Francisco. But to our point, they haven't even played in a championship game since '95.
Can't win in the playoffs.
Yeah, they can't win in the playoffs. So, I mean, look, the Lions are probably the next biggest favorite in my opinion because there was a lot of turnover in the Eagles. We don't know. You already mentioned the NFC South is not good. I don't see anyone from the South contending. Green Bay, maybe, but I still don't think they're quite there yet. The Rams, I mean, Matthew Stafford's going to keep you in every game you play, so I guess if they do make the playoffs, you can't count out the Rams because he can always sling it for 400 yards, but especially with Puka and Kupp out there. So I don't know, but I think the 49ers are definitely the clear-cut favorite in the NFC.
All right, let's make our Super Bowl picks. Look, I'm not going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl or make it. I can't do it as a Denver Broncos fan. I keep saying the Ravens are due, but I think, I'm going to go a little off the board here. I think Joe Burrow is back, and I think the Bengals get to the Super Bowl. I think one of the Bengals or Bills are going to have a breakout year. Like, I think a lot of people are done with the Bills, and then this is when they come out and make a run. But I'm going to go with the Bengals making it from the AFC. They are going to square off with – I can't believe I'm going to do this. They're going to square off with the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Oh, my
goodness.
And but the Bengals are going to win. Joe Burrow takes home his first Lombardi trophy. Again, I like being a little bit unique, so I'm going very off the board here.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys finally make the NFC Championship game. I think they go to Candlestick or whatever that's called now and lose to the Niners. I think the Niners go back. I think the Niners get the monkey off their back. I think they finally win the Super Bowl. I know it's like no team has ever won back-to-back and then even made a third. And I feel like Kansas City's not going, but the Ravens, there's a lot of turnover. I mean, I kind of like what you're saying there with the Bengals. If Joe Burrow can stay healthy, why aren't they in the Super Bowl, right?
It's just all about him being healthy.
Because, look, the Dolphins, if it's below 60, they're going to freeze and lose. The Ravens, now, if the Ravens get their junk together, and they've got a lot of turnover, could be early, ugly.
If Keaton Mitchell gets healthy.
Yeah.
With Derrick Henry, I mean.
I know. They could. You know what? I think the Ravens do not win the division, and in typical Ravens fashion, as a wild card, make the Super Bowl. And the 49ers get revenge 12 years later in the same stadium in which they lost to the Ravens when the lights cut out. I'm going to go 49ers over the Ravens.
There you go. Niners or Bengals. I think I'm going to place my bet during the commercial break. Bengals Super Bowl winners future. All right, let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. This is Hoist the Colors.
We're down to the final days of our summer sales event at Greenville Toyota.
Lease new RAV4s, $319 a month. Test drive the redesigned 2025 Camry, all with our advantage.
It's your last chance to save at Greenville Toyota.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time!
Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job.
Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Summer is here, and Sawyer's Fun Park is having a toddler summer special. From 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday, Sawyer's has a $10 2-hour unlimited pass for ages 2 to 4. That's one toddler and one parent for just $10 every weekday morning. Sawyer's Fun Park summer hours are Monday through Thursday from 10 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays from 10 to 9, and Sundays from 12 to 8. Book your tickets online at SawyersFunPark.com and beat the heat this summer at Sawyer's Fun Park.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves Tiebreakers.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Hurry, the summer savings event is coming to an end. Don't miss your chance.
Enjoy your summer in a new Corolla for just $219 a month or a Highlander for only $399 a month. Got a trade? Get cash for it or trade for a new Toyota.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here, Hoist the Colors. We're not going to have time to get to our audio from Savone Revel and also Hampton Urkel. If you want to check it out, you can go to both the Hoist the Colors and 94.3 The Game YouTube pages. We've got the full interviews in their entirety, along with John David Baker and Blake Carroll. We caught up with them yesterday. So we'll have more ODU ECU talk tomorrow with Bobby Harward. We'll also make our picks. Philip Pilkington producing. We've got a few minutes left. Scrolling through the Week 2 college football slate as we speak, Philip, and really trying to pick out what games I want to pick against the spread. So, unlike people who just pick their favorite games in terms of the favorite lines, we just pick the top games more times than not. So, Texas, Michigan will definitely be one. Texas is a 7.5-point favorite. I've got Kansas State at Tulane listed right now. K-State, 9-point favorite on the road. Arkansas, Oklahoma State, kind of an interesting game. You've got a lot of kind of interesting games on this list. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, I doubt we'll pick it, but that's intriguing a little bit at least. Baylor is at Utah. You got Iowa State, Iowa, South Carolina, Kentucky. I mean, it's a decent slate this week. It's not outstanding. Honestly, we might end up taking UTSA, Texas State. That is just a straight pick 'em as of right now.
Hey, Tennessee and NC State and Charlotte.
Yeah, and that's one of those games where I feel like a lot of people are going to be on Tennessee because of how bad State looked, and Tennessee may lay an egg.
Yeah.
I don't know if State will win outright, but Virginia Wake is an intriguing early ACC game. So it's one of those weeks where it's like pretty good, not great, but at least solid football, I would say.
Yeah, and then our Big Ten After Dark game too. Oregon's 20-point favorites against Boise. So the same people that are favoring Boise to make the college football playoff as the non-Power 4 team or have them as 3 touchdown dogs in Eugene. Now, obviously, Oregon's a good football team, but I think that's going to be an interesting reason to stay up till about 1:30 on a Sunday morning.
I always love the late night football, especially I'll be driving back from Norfolk, so I need a game to listen to. That'll be good. Can Colorado and Dion go to Nebraska, Phillip?
We got to pick that one. We definitely got to pick that one.
Nebraska 7.5-point favorites, right on that
I'm not
edge.
picking the corn suckers.
Your boy Matt Rule, man.
Oh, goodness. No, you couldn't pay me to pick Nebraska. The only time I've ever remotely pulled for Nebraska is I had a second cousin who was a starting wide receiver there from like 04 to 06.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Game? No, we never did. But that was cool, especially when you're like 5-6 years old. You got a cousin with your last name playing. But yeah, my dad's side of the family, half of them live in Nebraska, half of them live in Colorado. So it's quite the rivalry.
We'll have to get that story for sure on a future show. Maybe tomorrow. Had no idea that Pilk had a cousin that played for the Cornhuskers. I always wondered who those white receivers running around out there were related to. Now I know. All right. We're out of time. This is Hoist the Colors. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 noon. See you then.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap